counts of first-degree murder against the alleged gunman in the July 4th mass shooting. ABC's Alex Stone is there with more on those killed.
37-year-old Kevin McCarthy of Highland Park.
The youngest victim killed by gunfire was 35 years old, the oldest 88. Their names and ages announced by the coroner here.
78-year-old Nicholas Toledo.
On Tuesday, a seventh victim died. Others remain hospitalized. Despite many online postings about mass shootings and even a video about this parade route, police say they were never tipped off that the 21-year-old alleged shooter was a possible threat. Alex Stone, ABC News, Highland Park, Illinois.
Curfew has been lifted in Akron, Ohio, following marches that began after the police-involved shooting death of 25-year-old Jalen Walker. His death sparking new calls for police reform. Jada Walker is Jalen's sister and says it was hard knowing the police fired 60 bullets at him after he ran from a traffic stop.
I don't want to see him in that light because I know who he is, and just hearing all these different stories being told, and I just can't see myself watching somebody be gunned down or even running from the police.
Foreign ministers from the world's largest nations are looking to address Russia's war in Ukraine and its impact on the global economy, as well as food security, at a conference in Indonesia this week. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's future hanging on by a thread as two of his most senior cabinet members resign, saying they no longer have faith in his ability to lead. A mass funeral in South Africa. Services for the 21 teenagers who died while taking part in school break celebrations at a tavern last month. Toxicology reports aren't out yet, but it's believed that 12 girls and 9 boys died after inhaling gas or fumes. You're listening to ABC News.
Ew, Dad, why are toenails so ugly and yellow?
Hey, it's James, and if you're like me and suffer from toenail fungus, please pay close attention. Let's face it, toe fungus is embarrassing. I was afraid to take my socks off and hid my yellow and crumbly toes from everybody. But nail fungus isn't just a cosmetic problem. It can also be dangerous. Even a small spot can spread and get worse. But no matter what I tried, it seemed like my fungus would never go away. Then I discovered Crystal Flush, the new FDA-registered at-home treatment. This unique two-step system flushes out fungus at its source and reverses damaged nails. Finally, me and thousands of others are free from fungus. And you can be too. Call now, and for a limited time, you can try Crystal Flush risk-free for 30 days. Call 800-764-9219. That's 800-764-9219. Eliminate your toe fungus once and for all, guaranteed. Call now, 800-764-9219, or visit crystalflush.com.
New evacuation orders are in effect east of Sacramento, with the wildfire spreading quickly. The Electra fire now burning through at least 4,000 acres. Investigators think it may have been sparked by fireworks or a barbecue. In Australia, the problem again is water. 85,000 homes around Sydney threatened by floodwaters. It is the 4th time this has happened in 16 months there. Weeks after the FDA ordered products from e-cigarette maker Juul off store shelves, things are changing again.
The Food and Drug Administration banned Juul sales last month, and then a federal appeals court temporarily blocked that ban. The FDA now issuing an administrative stay on the order as it conducts a review of what it says are scientific issues unique to Juul. The agency has required e-cigarette companies prove they're a benefit to the public, an example being they're unlikely to get children hooked and help cigarette smokers reduce or quit smoking. The FDA says the stay and review, though, still does not authorize the vaping company to market, sell, or ship Juul products. Lionel Moise, ABC News.
History in the National Hockey League. The San Jose Sharks naming Mike Greer as the team's new general manager. He's the first African-American to hold that spot at any NHL team.
To the city of San Jose, I'm happy to be back. We're thrilled to be back. It's a place that we always loved from day one.
He spent 3 years with the Sharks during his 15-year career in the NHL. This is ABC News.
If you're like me and suffer from toenail fungus, please pay close attention. Nail fungus isn't just a cosmetic problem. It can also be dangerous. But no matter what I tried, it seemed like my fungus would never go away. Then I discovered Crystal Flush, the new FDA-registered at-home treatment. This unique two-step system flushes out fungus at its source and reverses damaged nails. Call now, and for a limited time, you can try Crystal Flush risk-free for 30 days. Call 800-764-9219. That's 800-764-9219.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
It's the time of year to come to NC Tractor for the selection of Massey Ferguson tractors and Bobcat zero-turn mowers. NC Tractor gives fantastic customer service, the best discounts possible, and it's a locally owned business. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue is helping to make outdoor work more enjoyable. Should you have something that you can be proud of for a long time? Massey Ferguson and Bobcat zero-turn mowers. Come look them over. 299 Railroad Avenue, Rutherfordton. That phone number is 288-0395.
We saw scattered showers and thunderstorms yesterday, dumping some heavy rainfall. We have more of that in the forecast again today. We have a level 2 threat for severe storms with damaging winds and perhaps some hail. Later this afternoon and evening could be quite active with a high in the low to mid-90s. Early evening showers and storms, the lows in the low 70s. And another possibility for strong to severe thunderstorms Thursday afternoon and evening, the high temperature in the lower 90s. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
We are starting the day with some patchy fog out around the neighborhood, so please watch out for that as you're out and about this morning. Temperature reading is 67 degrees and more thunderstorms developing for this afternoon, it looks like. Had a good one roll through last night. More this week. Matter of fact, every day there's calling for some thunderstorm activity, so let's grin and bear it. It's here. 6 minutes after 7 o'clock, I now have these death announcements. Steve Seawood Dyer, age 76, of Forest City, passed away Monday at his residence. In honor of Steve's wishes, no formal services will be conducted. And Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services serving the family of Steve Seawood Dyer. Lily Marlene Mimi Barub, age 75, passed away Tuesday, July 5th at her residence. A memorial service will be conducted at 4:30 Saturday, July 9th at the Harrelson Funeral Chapel. And Harrelson Funeral Home is serving the family of Lily Marlene Mamie Barub. Benny Lawler, age 82, of Rutherfordton, passed away Monday, July 4th. The family will receive friends from 6 until 8 o'clock Thursday, July 7th at Mike Mahan's Funeral Home. The funeral service will be at Mike Mahan's Funeral Home Chapel at 11 o'clock on Friday, July the 8th. Burial will be at the Union Methodist Church Cemetery. Mike Mahan's Funeral Home and Cremation Services in charge of the arrangements for Benny Lawler. Linda Keeter Stone, 63, of Rutherfordton, died Monday, July 4th. No services will be held at this time, and Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service is serving the family of Linda Keeter Stone. Benjamin H. Ben Bridges, age 64, of Forest City, died Monday, June 27th. The memorial service for Ben will be held at 4 o'clock on Thursday, July 7th in the Paget and King Chapel, with visitation from 3 until 4 prior to the service at the mortuary. The Paget and King Mortuary and Crematory in charge of the arrangements for Benjamin H. Ben Bridges. John Jack Larkins, 82, of Rutherfordton, died Friday, July 1st at his residence. A memorial service will be held at a later date, and Mike Van's Funeral Home and Cremation Service in charge of those arrangements for John Jack Larkins. Ira Sunshine Hornback of Rutherfordton died Sunday, June 26th. Memorial services conducted by the family will be held at a later date, and Mike Mahan's Funeral Home is assisting the family of Ira Sunshine Hornback. Rachel Jane Medcalf Summy, age 94, died Monday, June 27th in Rutherfordton. A memorial service will be held Saturday, July 9th at 2:30 at Spindle United Methodist Church. And Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is serving the family of Rachel Jane Medcalf Summy. Those are the death announcements we have in-house this morning. For complete information on these and others, as they become available to us, can be heard today at 11:35, and then again at 5:10 as part of the afternoon report here on WCAB in Rutherfordton, serving the foothills of the Carolinas. Well, the Braves had another good night last night over the Reds, 7-1. Braves 7, Reds 1. They'll be playing play them again tonight and tomorrow, and then again they change venues on Friday. The Bill O'Reilly Morning Update is coming next, and we'll get you posted. We have a shooting that took place. We have a scam alert, and a missing person. We'll talk all about that during the call-around portion of our news.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, AMAC is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits, insightful news, and a magazine full of uncensored content. They are pushing back against efforts to defund the police, weaken the borders, and corrupt our youth. But they need your help. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us. On this Wednesday, it is annoying and unsettling that the Justice Department has not yet identified the person who leaked Justice Alito's memo on Roe v. Wade. You will remember that leak to the press happened in early May, and it caused fear and loathing throughout the land, which continues to this day. Now, the leak was unprecedented at the Supreme Court. It had never happened before, and U.S. Marshals were assigned to find the miscreant. They have not. The question is, are they really looking? The Biden administration and Attorney General Merrick Garland are generally sympathetic to people who oppose pro-life decisions, right? We all know that. So I think a legitimate question then becomes, are you really looking for the person who leaked this? I don't know. I can't possibly make an educated guess on that. But I do know it should not be taking this long. There are not that many people in the Justice Department with access to Judge Alito's memos. It's not like the janitor could do it. It has to be someone that had access to his files in office. So, do I expect the leaker to be found? At this point, no. I don't believe the U.S. Justice Department is an honest organization right now. Now this. Many timeshare owners are very upset because their yearly dues have nearly doubled. Well, Lone Star will guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. With their A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau, clients know that Lone Star Transfer is a company you can trust. For a free consultation, please go to LoneStarTransfer.com or call 855-551-7066. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
No silly giggling, no screaming and yelling, no vulgar language, and no put-downs. We're up, live, and family-friendly. We are WCAB Radio, serving your family 24 hours a day.
Your Atlanta Braves are battling through the hot weather and big road trips as they look to push for a 4th straight division crown.
Next pitch to Riley. Swung on, hammered to deep center. Hey, the man! Home run!
Tonight, don't miss a minute of Atlanta Braves baseball live from Truist Park as the Braves look for a National League win against the St. Louis Cardinals. Braves Radio's on the air at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
Downeyville, California's 4th of July celebration was a grand one. A miner by the name of Cannon and a friend were headed home. Drunk, Cannon was taking every opportunity he could to steady himself against something. One of those somethings was the rickety door of the hut where a Mexican woman named Juanita and her man lived. As Cannon leaned against the door, it swung open and he fell inside. Cannon's friend went inside to retrieve Cannon. The friend saw Juanita and her man in bed. Quickly, Cannon was pulled from the adobe shack and escorted home. The next morning, Cannon didn't remember anything about the incident. When he was told about it, he immediately resolved to deliver a personal apology. Cannon went to Juanita's place. Juanita and her man came outside. They engaged in a heated conversation in Spanish. Suddenly, Juanita drew a knife and stabbed Cannon. He fell at her feet with his life ebbing away. Within hours, the news of a killing spread throughout the camp. The code of the miners was simply a life for a life. A miners' jury was established and Juanita was tried. Juanita was declared guilty and sentenced to be immediately hanged. Juanita didn't protest her being declared guilty or the sentence. Juanita was taken to a nearby bridge. A rope with a noose was thrown over a suspension. Standing next to the noose with hands untied and dress flowing in the breeze, Juanita calmly told her story, concluding that if she had it over, she would repeat her act. Then she took the noose, placed it around her neck, and said, "Adios, senors." She leaped off the bridge, startling everyone. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
When your taste buds are screaming for delicious, head over to Jesse James Railroad Express. Enjoy fresh-cooked burgers, garden salads, hot dogs any way you like, French fries. Enjoy a refreshing milkshake or a hand-dipped ice cream cone. They're open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 4, closed Wednesday and Sunday. That's Jesse James Railroad Express, 531 Railroad Avenue in Ruth. Call ahead, 828-447-4644. And Mondays only, hot dogs with mustard, chili, and onions, only $1.24 each. All aboard the Jesse James Railroad Express.
Now it's 16 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Hump Day Wednesday morning. Let's get started with our Call Around the County newscast. Stop it first at the Sheriff's Department. And Sergeant Brendel, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Hope you are.
Yes, sir. I'm doing great. In the past 24 hours...
Tell us what's been going on over there.
Yes, sir. In the past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has answered 113 calls, processed 14 arrests, and currently have 196 incarcerated. Under our arrest reports, we have a Priscilla Wolf, 36-year-old white female of Tennessee, was charged with failure to appear on a felony, given a $7,000 secured bond. We have a Ryan Alexander Green, 33-year-old white male of Ellenboro, was charged with one count of breaking and entering and one count of resisting a public officer, given a $5,000 secure bond. We have a Cecil Dean Johnson, 61-year-old white male, was charged with failure to report change of address as a sex offender, given a $10,000 secure bond. We have a Michael Wayne Ken, 41-year-old white male of Far City, was charged with 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder and 1 count of assault on a law enforcement officer with a firearm. No bond listed on that at this time. We have a Philip Boland, 35-year-old white male of Mooresboro, charged with possession Schedule 2, misdemeanor fleet and loot arrest with a motor vehicle, driving while license revoked, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, communicating threats, and assault on a female. He was given a $13,000 secure bond. We have a Montreal Murray, 32-year-old black male of Shelby, charged with, or served with a court process. Looks like he's got a $500 bond on that. Have a Cecil Lee Henson Jr., 55-year-old white male of Rutherford, charged with 1 count of misdemeanor probation violation, 1 count of resisting a public officer, given a $7,500 secure bond. We have a Tina Robertson, 50-year-old white female of Ellenboro, charged with 6 counts of failure to appear on misdemeanor, given a $10,000 secure bond. We have a James Michael Gay, 35-year-old white male of Ellenboro, charged with 4 counts of failure to appear on misdemeanor, given a $1,000 secure bond. And we have a Tammy Logan, 37-year-old black female of Union Mills, charged with 1 count of failure to appear on misdemeanor, given a $3,000 secured bond. Under our incident reports, we have a Brittany Vance from Gilboy Church Road, Rutherford, reported a larceny of a motor vehicle. Looks like, let's see here. It's going to be a Burgundy Ford Escape, 2003 model on that. We have a Keith Hawthorne from Big Island Road, reported a felony larceny. Looks like several different construction equipment, including a generator, some batteries, impact driver, and drill driver, were taken in that incident. We have a breaking and entering and a resisting public officer that was reported from Lefford Road at Ellenboro. That's where Mr. Ryan Green was taken into custody in that incident. We have Barbara Green, Adelot Road, Rutherford, reported a breaking and entering. Looks like numerous various type items taken in that incident. We have a Charles Hall from Pebblestone Lane, Rutherford, reported a felony larceny. Looks like 2 cell phones valued at $1,400 were taken in that incident. And we have a obtained property false pretense from Howard Cole Road in Rutherford. Looks like suspect took $954 in U.S. currency through a Cash App on the phone. And that's all we have to report this morning.
Sergeant Brundle, thank you very much for that report. Now you go be safe today.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye. And we'll get to 911 communication report right after this. To win in sports, you must adjust your strategy as the game changes. The same is true of investments. Why not let Andrew Tisdale, your Edward Jones financial advisor, help you create a game plan for financial success? Call 828-287-9197 and get started today. That's Andrew Tisdale at Edward Jones Financial Advisor, 828-287-9197. Here's Melissa now with a report from 911 Communications. Melissa, good morning.
Good morning. In the past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office and 911 Communications has processed a total of 504 911 and administrative calls. These consisted of 40 for emergency medical services, 113 for the Sheriff's Office, 72 for the town of Forest City, 32 for the town of Rutherfordton, 4 for Lake Lure, and 39 for Spindale. Under fire calls, the Cherry Mountain Fire Department responded to a fire alarm, Ellenboro responded to a motor vehicle accident, and Rutherfordton to a fire alarm. And that's all.
Thanks, Melissa. You have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Sheriff Francis mentioned this yesterday morning. We now have more details on the shooting on Byers Road, July 4th, around 8:29 p.m. Deputies with the Sheriff's Office were dispatched to 371 Byers Road, Forest City, for a disturbance call. On arrival, the first responding deputy encountered Michael Wayne Keene, 41, a resident of 371 Byers Road, outside of the residence. Keene entered the home briefly and then came back outside to speak with the deputy. Keene communicated a threat to the deputy, and the deputy tried to detain Keene but was unsuccessful. Keene was able to make it back into the residence and lock the door. The deputy then called for additional officers. A short time after other officers arrived, Keene fired a shotgun toward the deputies. Deputies returned fire toward Keene. No deputies nor Keene were injured from the gunfire. A short time later, Keene exited the residence and was taken into custody by deputies. Michael Wayne Keene was transported to the Rutherford County Slammer, where he was charged with communicating threats and assault on law enforcement officer with a firearm and held under no bond. On July 5th, detectives with the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office consulted with District Attorney Ted Bell about the case. After consulting with D.A. Bell, Michael Wayne Keene was charged with 2 counts of attempted murder for his actions against the deputies. Now we're going over to the SDO Fire District and get the report from Ruby Taylor. Good morning, Ruby.
Good morning.
What's on your report?
Well, the fire department was quiet. And on my birthday calendar, I've got Marty Roper and Pat Millwood and Dot James having birthdays, and hope they have a nice day, and the sun's in the rains today and tomorrow. And that's all I got.
I'll see you next time.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Let me brag on Hutchins Pest Control a minute. Don't let the pest bug you when Hutchins Pest Control is as close as a phone call. Honest, dependable, professional, and on-time service may be the reason they keep getting voted best pest control. If you have a pest problem, call this family-run business at 287-5171. Licensed in North and South Carolina and fully insured and bonded. Get a free estimate when you call Hutchins Pest Control and be sure the job is done right. That's Hutchins Pest Control. Call them today at 287-5171 and they'll be right there. 7:25 and our temperature reading right now 67 degrees. Expect more storms this evening, late this afternoon or early evening. Let's check in now with Gary Wilson up in the Fairfield Mountains Fire District and overlooking Bills Creek Fire District for us as well. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, John. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Just a little bit of fog this morning to deal with, but it's starting to clear out. Still got some spotty places, so
yes,
take a little extra time driving. And I'm sitting on about 68 degrees this morning, and it's been quiet overnight since the 4th. Had a pretty busy 4th, and unfortunately got rained out, but so the fireworks that night. But I understand they're going to shoot them Labor Day, so that'll work out good. Hopefully have a little better weather then and a little cooler weather maybe. But it's going to be hot for the next 2 or 3 days. Just these low mid-90s, I think. Few Friday, so
yes,
chances some thunderstorms out of that. So we'll have to wait and see what we get. But right now we're quiet this morning, good quiet start, ready to go and see what the rest of the week brings.
Gary, hope you have a great day.
All right, you too, Jim.
Thanks. See you now. That's Fairfield Mountain reporter Gary Wilson. The Rutherford County Sheriff's Office is requesting the public's help locating Randy Sean Waters. Mr. Waters was last seen by a family member at the Green Hill convenience store approximately 5 weeks ago. Mr. Waters told the family members he would be at home later that day, but never showed. Mr. Waters goes by Sean and is between 5'9" and 5'10" and weighs approximately 250 pounds. Mr. Waters has short brown hair, longer on top but thinning, and brown eyes. Mr. Waters has a tattoo, Layla, on one side of his neck and Drake on the other side of his neck. Mr. Waters also has Sean and a skull with red eyes on his left forearm. Mr. Waters was last known driving a gold in color Chevy pickup truck with no tag and with bullet holes in the truck. Mr. Waters could be in the area of Turner Road and Highway 6474 or in the Caroline area, and please be on the watch for him and report any sighting of this man. They'd love to get him back safely. Here's DeVarn Upton now over in Bostic, North Carolina. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing great. Always happy
good.
to talk with you.
That's right. Temperature is 70 degrees over here in Bostic this morning, and fire department had no calls. Don't forget to stop in at Washburn Store located off of Bostic Sunshine Highway. They have some good tomatoes. Chase Ministry is giving out food boxes today from 9 to 10:30, and take your kids by Bostic Park and let them play on the new equipment. Hope everyone has a wonderful day.
DeVarn, is that park there at the Lincoln Center?
Yes, right across from it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, thank you very much. You have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hey folks, you know, Farmer's Friend Feed Seed Supply is an amazing store. I can say that because they have what you need. From pet supplies to fire and ant killer to horse quality Timothy alfalfa hay, $14 per bale. Attention carp fishermen, they have C&J flavoring, only $8 per bottle. And they have oats for sale. Refill your propane tanks at the lowest price. Fully stocked with all your deer supplies and a great selection of farm implements. Need mulch? $12 per scoop. We could call it a superstore. Farmer's Friend Feed Seed Supply, 188 Whiteside Road in Rutherfordton.
Well, the missing person we talked about yesterday morning, Eliasa Wilson, has been located safe. She is no longer a missing person, so we're happy to be able to report that she has been returned to safety. Now we're going over to the Hudlow Fire District. Mr. Bob Hodge, how are you doing this morning?
We are done just fine up here on this hump day morning.
Did you get some of that storm last night, Bob?
About 8 o'clock, we had one move through here, and we got a pretty good shower of rain for a few minutes. So that was good news. We hadn't had any much in a couple of weeks up here, so that helped out a lot.
Yeah, that's helpful. That's helpful.
Yeah, it got dark, and the wind got up and blowed, and had a good shower of rain for a few minutes. So, but look like we might get a few more of them storms later on today, move through. So
Looks like we may be visited by those storms right every day this week, so we'll have to get accustomed to welcoming them to our neighborhood, I guess.
yeah, it looks that way. So I guess you need to be on the lookout for some of them storms are moving through, you know. But Jim, things going along pretty quiet up here this morning with the fire department. We've answered one medical call, hadn't had any fire wreck calls or anything, and everything else going along good, Jim. Maybe things will stay quiet up here, and maybe we'll get another shower of rain. We don't want no bad storm, but we need the rain pretty bad. It's getting dry, so maybe we'll get another shower or two. And
that'd be good.
And Jim, that's about it up here. And you take care, and you have a good day now.
Bob, thank you very much. I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Keep us posted on things, and we'll see you then.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheryl, have you been to the Homeworks Design Center inside Henson Building Materials in Forest City?
Oh, yes. Shana, David, and William are incredible at designing kitchen and bath cabinetry for my new she shed.
Your what?
And they have a full line of windows and doors on display in their 5,000 square foot showroom. And they'll install any ones you pick out for me.
Oh, you're too good to me.
I know. With selling and installing, it's basically one-stop shopping.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford-Ton.
Braves baseball again this evening against the Cardinals. They won last night 7-1, and they're on a winning spree right now, so let's hope it continues throughout the season. Now let's head over to the Cherry Mountain Fire District, and that's where we'll find Sue Price. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, Jim.
You doing okay?
I'm doing okay. Hope you are.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, good. Pretty morning out there.
It is beautiful. Do you have any fog over your way?
Think what?
Did you have any fog over your way this morning?
I didn't see any. We had a good rain last night, but yesterday evening, though.
Good.
So, glad to get these showers. Well, let's see. I didn't have any calls from the fire department. I have one birthday on my church calendar for Clifford Tony, so happy birthday to Clifford, and nothing on my personal calendar. And Fairview doesn't have anything today. First Bro's got a birthday for, no, it's an anniversary for Steve and Judy Brackett. So I hope they'll have a good one. And don't have any announcements that I know of. The Golden Valley Community Club will be meeting on the 18th. We meet at 7 o'clock, and everybody's welcome. We need some new members in the club. So you folks in Golden Valley, come on out and enjoy a good meeting and good food, and we always enjoy it. And so far, that's the only announcement I have. It's just quiet and calm over here looking for a good day, and I hope you'll have one, Jim.
Hope you have one too, Sue, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, there's another scam out there. Let us report to you from the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office sent this out, a T-shirt scam alert. There's a scam going around the county where citizens are receiving text messages soliciting them to buy Rutherford County Sheriff's Office T-shirts. Sheriff's Office says we are not selling T-shirts and we are not texting you to sell T-shirts. If you receive this text or one similar to it, do not respond, do not share any personal information, and do not provide any financial information. This is a scam. It's trying to sell Rutherford County Sheriff's Office T-shirts. It is a scam, so do not respond, do not send any information, do not send any money, and just report that fact that you're getting that scam notice. There are every minute or two, every day just about, we get somebody trying to scam us. Had one yesterday, I'll tell you about sometime. All right, we're heading over now toward Shingle Hollow. And Tina White's on the phone to give us all the news that's worth talking about. Good morning.
Good morning, Jim. It is 69 degrees in Shingle Hollow this morning, and the fire department had a call early this morning for an overturned vehicle, but they got that straightened up, and there were no injuries, so thankful for that.
Good, good.
No birthdays, no anniversaries. Have Vacation Bible School coming up this Saturday, July 9th. Excuse me, I started to say June. From 11 to 1, Piney Knob Baptist Church is having their Bible School kickoff. And then on Monday, the 11th through the 15th, from 5:30 to 8:30, we'll have Vacation Bible School. Mountain Creek Baptist Church is also having Bible School next week. Theirs begins on the 10th and goes through the 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. If you need to be picked up, the van can get you. You can call 287-7159. And they ask that you let them know by July 9th so that they can schedule it. And the White House Community Clubhouse is having a back-to-school kickoff on July 30th from 9 to 12. And the first 40 children get a free backpack filled with some goodies. There'll be lots of vendors there. It's going to be a big day, and that is at the White House Community Clubhouse. And that's all I have this morning, Jim.
All right. You feeling better?
I am feeling better. Got a little runny nose this morning, so but that's all.
Yeah.
I'm feeling lots better.
Good, good, good. All right, then. Well,
Well,
keep us posted. We appreciate everything you're doing up there for us, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Okay. Have a great day. Be safe, and God bless you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, Brenda Kelly's off the rocker this week. She's not doing her report. She's doing some other things, and we'll get back with her probably on Saturday morning. So we'll go over to Ellenboro next.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
Are you tired of waiting for weeks and months to get an appointment with your primary care provider? Or looking for a primary care provider that spends 30 minutes with you instead of just 10? There's one right here in our area. Brock Family Care, located at 289 Shallow Road in Forest City. Brock Family Care provides primary health care and urgent care services for you and your family, as well as coordinate care between hospitals and specialty care. They don't accept insurance, but they have a unique pricing model that should be pleasing to everyone. Check them out at www.brockfamilycare.com or simply call 828-382-7282. Now let's turn our attention to Ellenboro, North Carolina, and turn our attention to the man who knows everything's going on over there. Whether he'll tell us, I don't know, but here's Luther Gilligan. Good morning.
Good morning, too. It's a nice day down here this morning. Sun's up. Had a good shower of rain yesterday. Got smog out. Day's looking up.
Good.
But it's quiet there this morning. Not a whole lot going on. Everybody just trying to get back to work, get the middle of the week over. They'll be going downhill for the weekend. The fire department may have 3 medical calls yesterday. Not 3 medical calls, 3 accidents yesterday evening. Didn't have any medical calls. So they're quiet this morning. That's going on with them. So everything's quiet pretty well all over this morning. So you have a great day up there, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
I hope to see you then. Have a good one. Now be careful over there, and I'll see you.
Now.
All right, bye. Time now for birthdays and anniversaries for this Wednesday hump day, the 6th day of July, July 6th. And we hope you'll report that to us and let us give you a big shout out. Birthdays and anniversaries at 287-3356, 287-3356. Birthdays and anniversaries coming up next.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
For breakfast or for lunch, you cannot go wrong. Well, stop at Granny B's for food. Food's always good, nourishing. If you like that breakfast cooked the way you like it, they got pancakes and they got scrambled eggs and sausage and bacon. They got eggs turned over lightly, and ever how you want your breakfast, they can do that. Then lunchtime, those subs are just outstanding. They get to put on there what you want to put on there, and all kinds of toppings and all kinds of meat choices. It's just a great place to have a good meal. And they'd love to have you come by and see them today. They open as early as 6:30 for breakfast and serve breakfast up until about 11, and they're open all day for the rest of the day. So pick a load of good food and take it to work with you and share with your friends and neighbors and become a hero. Now, don't forget, those delicious daylight donuts are there for you as well, and boy, are they a hit. That's Granny B's. They're in Spindale, Main Street, right next to the Shake Shop.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday wishes going out to Jeff Thomas of Boston. Jeff's 61 today. And Kaylee Perry of Forest City's 23. So happy birthday to these fine folks. Other birthdays include Nancy Reagan. She will be celebrating her birthday today. She was born in 1921, former First Lady. 1925, Bill Haley was born. 1925, Merv Griffin, TV host, was born. He died in 2007. 1937, Gene Chandler. He's the one that's saying Duke, 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 Duke of Earl. 1940, Jeannie Seeley was born. And 1946, George W. Bush, the 43rd president, was also born. And in 1946, Sylvester Stallone was born. Some of the events on this date include 1785, U.S. Congress resolved the name of the U.S. currency to the dollar and adopts the decimal coinage. 1858, shoemaking machine is patented. 1928, first all-talking motion picture shown in New York. 1933, nursery rhymes premieres first appearance of the Three Stooges. National Fried Chicken Day is today. Yep, I can do that. And National Hand Roll Day also is today. So now you're up to date on this date in history here on WCAB in Rutherfordton. Stand by now for Keys to Confident Living coming up next on the Morning Wake Up Call.
No silly giggling, no screaming and yelling, no vulgar language, and no put-downs. We're live and family-friendly. We
WCAB.
Sherry Preston. The suspect in the 4th of July Highland Park shooting is now facing 7 counts of first-degree murder, but prosecutors in Illinois say Robert Cremo will face more, including attempted murder. Cremo will be in court today. As ABC's Alex Stone says detectives continue looking into his past.
In one of 2 interactions with police in 2019, Robert Cremo had threatened to kill everyone, according to Deputy Chief Chris Covelli. He says police went to the home and removed 16 knives and daggers, but nothing more could be done.
There was no probable cause to arrest. There were no complaints that were signed by any of the victims.
And earlier in 2019, police were notified that Cremo had attempted suicide. Despite those 2 interactions, Cremo was able to later legally buy 5 guns, including an AR-style rifle. Alex Stone, ABC News, Highland Park, Illinois.
The sister of a black man shot 60 times by police in Akron, Ohio, is speaking out. Jayland Walker's sister says the family is devastated.
I'm just really sad because, like I said, out of many black men who have been killed and many families who experience this, even as a sister, it's just... Excuse me, it's really hard.
Walker was not armed as he ran from police, but investigators say he shot at them from a car before he was killed. 2 of British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's top cabinet members have resigned, saying they no longer have confidence in his leadership. In Parliament today, Johnson tried to defend himself and his record, saying he won't step down.
The job of a Prime Minister in difficult circumstances when he's been handed a colossal mandate is to keep going, and that's what I'm going to do.
On stage at an outdoor concert in Michigan, Carlos Santana fainted. That's what it sounded like afterwards. He was taken away on a stretcher. Later tweeted he had forgotten to eat or drink and passed out from exhaustion and dehydration. He is expected to be okay. You're listening to ABC News.
Stress. It never seems to end when you owe money to the IRS. What about the years of unfiled tax returns? Have you tried another tax service and gotten nowhere? Then you need Tax Alliance. Why? Years of being A+ rated with a Better Business Bureau with no consumer complaints sets them apart. Call 800-987-1097. That's 800-987-1097. Don't wait until the IRS attacks your wages, bank account, your home or pension, and even your Social Security check. Tax Alliance specializes in IRS tax relief programs, including the Fresh Start Initiative, which can finally free yourself from IRS debt. Their tax professionals can file returns, fight the IRS to substantially lower your IRS debt, or possibly even have it forgiven. If you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes, have unfiled tax returns, or have a payment plan and are still frustrated, call 800-987-1097. That's 800-987-1097.
Tax Alliance, your tax resolution solution.
In Ukraine, the governor of Donetsk, the last eastern province still partly under Ukrainian control, is now asking about 350,000 people to evacuate. Russian forces are stepping up their attacks in recent days. Gas prices getting a little bit better. The nationwide average down about a dime in the past week, and they may be poised to go even lower. The U.S. standard for crude slipping under $100 a barrel for the first time since May. Experts say that could drive gas prices much lower over the next several weeks. Some new discoveries about the tiniest stuff that makes up everything. Here's ABC's Chuck Sievertson.
It's faster than this, but with plenty of really small smash-ups. The physics lab in Geneva, Switzerland, with the world's largest atom smasher, announces they've seen 3 what they call exotic particles that could give clues about the force that makes these smaller-than-atoms things stick together. The CERN lab uses superconducting magnets to propel smaller-than-smithereens along a 17-mile track at near light speed until... And high-tech detectors see what's what. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
There may be a massive hacker attack in China. A group of cyber criminals is now claiming it has gotten into Chinese police computers and stolen information on 1 billion people. Asking price for that whole database, only $200,000. This is ABC News.
Big news. Greta Van Susteren is back, and she's on Newsmax. Tune into Newsmax at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight to watch The Record with Greta Van Susteren and get the real news. Plus, check out the new lineup of Rob Schmidt, Eric Bowling, and more. Newsmax is on all major cable and streaming platforms. If your cable system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them and demand it. And download the free Newsmax app on your phone. Make the switch to Newsmax today.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
We are in the middle of an active weather period. That means showers and thunderstorms are going to play a prominent role in our forecast, likely through Saturday. Unfortunately, it does come along with a threat for severe weather. We're in a level 2 threat for severe storms later today, damaging winds, perhaps some hail, the high in the low to mid-90s, early evening showers and storms, the low in the low 70s, and more scattered showers and thunderstorms on tap tomorrow. Some could be severe with the high in the low 90s. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
We're edging on up the line. It's 69 right now. We started out 67, 69 right now. We're getting up to 94 for a daytime high with a heat index around 101. So keep that in mind, folks, as you're out and about. It's a story let me pass on to you. Just raise your awareness. There are more than 1,000 children have died in hot cars since 1990. 5-year-old boy left strapped into his car seat for hours under sweltering Texas heat, died Monday. According to the sheriff's office there, it was supposed to be a quick trip with the child's mother and an 8-year-old sister to get ready for the sister's birthday party. They returned home in a rush to prepare for the celebration, and both mother and daughter hurried into the house without checking the safety seat. They exited the car, saw the 8-year-old, and assumed the other child was out also, adding that the 5-year-old is usually able to unbuckle and exit on his own. On that day, they were using a loaner vehicle. After 2 or 3 hours, Gonzalez said the mother realized she couldn't find her son and ran outside, where she found him still in the car seat. EMS was called and the boy was pronounced dead at the scene. While the Harris County Sheriff's Office has investigated that, it has not said whether the mother will face charges. More than 1,000 children have died in hot cars since 1990, and at least another 7,300 survived with varying types and severity of injuries, according to data collected by Kids in Car Safety. So be aware of that fact, and don't get too busy that you forget your kids or pets, either one. Here's some safety tips for parents and caregivers. Create simple habits to help keep your child safe. Make sure your child is never left alone in the car. Place the child's diaper bag or item in the front seat passenger side as a visual cue that the child is with you. Make it a habit of opening the back door every time you park to ensure no one is left behind. To enforce this habit, place an item that you can't start your day without in the back seat, like an employee badge, a laptop, or phone, a handbag. Ask your child care provider to call you right away if your child hasn't arrived as scheduled. Clearly announce and confirm who is getting each child out of the vehicle. Miscommunication can lead to thinking someone else removed the child. Make sure children cannot get into a parked vehicle. That happened here in the county a few years ago. Keep vehicles locked at all times, especially in the garage or driveway. Ask neighbors and visitors to do the same. Never leave car keys within the reach of children. Some of those safety tips might save your child's life. And let's not forget the pets. They're sometimes left in cars as well. 8 minutes past the hour. News from here and there coming up in just a moment.
New Fabulous Fortune is only for the bold. In my kingdom, we understand bold, like jousting. Rather bold, consuming 3 giant turkey legs. Very bold. And Fabulous Fortune, with the best odds to win $300 and a top prize of $3 million. Totally bold. Fabulous Fortune from the North Carolina Education Lottery. May thy boldness be rewarded. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.14. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Smith Drugs of Forest City, we are continue to offer the COVID-19 rapid testing and the COVID-19 vaccinations. Please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591 with any questions or concerns that you may have. You may also visit our website at smithsdrugsfc.com and schedule your COVID rapid 19 test or your vaccination. Again, if you have any questions, please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591.
Smith Drugs of Forest City is offering the flu vaccines. You can walk in Monday through Friday or by appointment only on Saturdays. The Dream Station and System 1 CPAP customers, if you need assistance registering your recall devices, you can call the Home Medical Department at 245-4591. And Smith Drugs has a large selection of in-stock mastectomy bras, now half price. So come by our Home Equipment Department on West Main Street in Forest City. Smith Drugs, 245-4591. Sign-up forms are now available for the Meet Me at the Fountain 5K race to be held on Saturday, July the 23rd. Go to smithsdrugsfc.com.
Story we shared earlier during the 7 o'clock hour. Let me repeat. Some of you don't rise that early, but on July 4th, around 8:30, deputies with the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office were dispatched to 371 Byers Road, Forest City, for a disturbance call. On arrival, the first responding deputy encountered Michael Wayne Keene, 41, a resident of 371 Byers Road, outside of the residence. Keene entered the home briefly and then came back outside to speak with the deputy. Keene communicated a threat to the deputy, and the deputy tried to detain Keene but was unsuccessful. Keene was able to make it back into the residence and lock the door. Well, then the deputy called for additional officers for backup. A short time after other officers arrived, Keene fired a shotgun toward deputies. Deputies returned fire toward Keene. No deputies or Keene were injured from the gunfire. A short time later, Keene exited the residence and was taken into custody by deputies. Michael Wayne Keene was transported to Rutherford County Slammer. He was charged with communicating threats and assault on law enforcement officers with a firearm and held under no bond. July 5th, detectives with the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office consulted with District Attorney Ted Bell about the case. After consulting with D.A. Bell, Michael Wayne Keene was charged with 2 counts of attempted murder for his actions against the deputies. We also have a missing person. The Rutherford County Sheriff's Office is requesting the public's help locating a Randy Sean Waters. Mr. Waters was last seen by a family member at the Green Hill convenience store approximately 5 weeks ago. Mr. Waters told the family member he would be at home later that day but never showed. Mr. Waters goes by Sean and is between 5 foot 9 inches tall and 5'10" and weighs approximately 250 pounds. Mr. Waters has short brown hair, longer on top but thinning, and brown eyes. Mr. Waters has a tattoo, Layla, on one side of his neck and Drake on the other side of his neck. Mr. Waters also has Sean and a skull with red eyes on his left forearm. Mr. Waters was last known driving a gold-in-color Chevy pickup truck with no tag and with bullet holes in the truck. Mr. Waters could be in the area of Turner Road and Highway 6474 or in the Caroline area. Any help you can be, please contact the Rutherford County Sheriff's Department. The scam alert we mentioned, there is a scam going around the county where citizens are receiving text messages soliciting them to buy Rutherford County Sheriff's Office T-shirts. Well, the sheriff wants you to know they are not selling T-shirts and they are not texting you to sell T-shirts. If you receive this text or one similar to it, do not respond, do not share any personal information, and do not provide any financial information. This is a scam. The Sheriff's Department is not soliciting the sale of T-shirts. Meanwhile, other news, Lake Lure has a new town manager now. William Hank Perkins has been hired by the town. He started as town manager last month with a reception held last week for residents to drop in and meet Perkins. Lake Lure Mayor Carol Pritchett announced Perkins' hire back in April. Prior to his stint in Louisville, Perkins served as town manager of North Wilkesboro for a decade. Before that, he gained various municipal experience in Smithville, where he worked in human resources, public works, sanitation, and recycling. Perkins replaces Shannon Baldwin, who left in October of 2021. According to the Asheville Police Department, the two men ignited some improvised explosive devices at Peck Square in Asheville at the site of the former Vance Monument as spectators were departing the July 4th Independence Day celebration. Police arrested Duncan Andrew Small, 30 years old, and Chioke Odin Fuget, 23, around 11 p.m. for lighting IEDs similar to pipe bombs and throwing them at the former monument. Witnesses told police they heard Small make the statement that he was going to blow up what remains of the monument. There were people who were in downtown Asheville who attended a 4th of July celebration. Police said no one was injured. Small and Fugit were both charged with possession of a weapon of mass destruction and going armed to the terror of the public. Small was also charged with discharging a firearm in city limits. The men were taken to Buncombe County Slammer. Small has a $16,000 bond and Fugit has a $15,000 bond. Still a lot of hate out there, isn't there? People just hate. Interesting story here. I thought this was really nice, a positive story from a 7-year-old. He saved a classmate from choking with the Heimlich maneuver. A 7-year-old elementary school student is being held a hero after he saved his classmate's life during lunch by using the Heimlich maneuver. David Diaz Jr., a second grader from Woodrow Wilson Elementary in Binghamton, New York, stepped into action when he noticed his friend had begun choking on pizza at school. He said he learned the life-saving move from The Good Doctor, a TV medical drama he's been watching with his father, David Diaz Sr., during the last year. If anyone is choking or is in danger, you always have to save them, David said. He told Fox News Digital during a recent phone interview. If you don't, then that could really be sad. So young David said he didn't know for sure that he'd be able to save his friend when he put his arms around him, but he hoped that he could, since he was closer to the choking student than his teachers were at the time. Kristen Corba, a second-grade teacher at Woodrow Wilson Elementary, told Fox News Digital that David had been sitting across from the choking student. If anybody's choking or is in danger, you always have to save them, he said. So he's been held a hero for being observant and willing to save his friend's life. Isn't that great? 15 past 8 o'clock, the Sheriff's Report with Sergeant Brandel coming up here in just a few moments.
Did you know that approximately 34% of women worldwide are affected by urinary incontinence? But there is good news. You don't have to suffer anymore. Brock Family Care in Forest City is excited to introduce a breakthrough treatment for urinary incontinence called BTL Emsella. All you have to do is sit on the Emsella chair for 30 minutes fully clothed 2 times a week for 3 weeks, and your quality of life will significantly improve. Sound interesting? Then call 828-382-7282 to learn more about this amazing treatment, or visit our website at www.brockfamilycare.com.
This is Dwayne Hunt with Insurance Service Associates. We know that due to COVID, many people don't want to come in the office. If you need to discuss your insurance needs or just make a payment, you can come through the drive-thru, telephone us, or drop in. We want to see you, but it doesn't have to be across from a desk. Insurance Service Associates, now located at 245 East Main Street in Forest City.
You know, I love to check out all the good places to eat when they're locally owned, and I found Scrappy's Food and Fuel some weeks ago. They've been telling you about them ever since, and you need to check it out. I recommend Scrappy's Food and Fuel at the intersection of 221 and Chase High Road. Start your day with a full breakfast. You can do that right now, as a matter of fact, with handmade cat head biscuits, ham, sausage, delicious coffee, and much more. Now, Scrappy's Food and Fuel always sells a lot of their mouth-watering hamburgers and hot dogs, hand-breaded chicken tenders, and onion rings. You'll love their homemade chicken salad and homemade pasta salad, chicken wings, and oh, so much more. Scrappy's Cafe is open 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day except Sunday. The store is open 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, Saturday 7 a.m. till 8. Now Scrappy's Food and Fuel is opening on Sundays from 9 till 6, but the cafe's closed on Sunday. So do yourself a favor this morning, sometime today, this morning, or at lunchtime. Do your business with our friends at Scrappy's Food and Fuel on the corner of Chase High Road and Highway 221. Locally owned and operated, you will be pleased with the service and also the food. It's not any place fancy, but boy, is the food ever good. I can vouch for that, and I would not lead you astray. At 19 past 8 o'clock, we continue to be appalled and astounded as she continues to open her mouth. But Kamala Harris claims killing babies in abortion is a Christian value. I honestly forget that Kamala Harris is our vice president until she opens her mouth to say another dumb thing on camera for the world to see. She may not have much knowledge to offer our country, but at least we've been entertained by her presence, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. On June 17th, at the tarmac outside of Dulles International Airport in Virginia, Harris claimed that supporting abortion rights doesn't require anyone to change their faith. Clearly, Harris hasn't read the Bible. Killing babies is a Christian value, she says. For those of us of faith, I think that we agree, many of us, that there's nothing about this issue that will require anyone to abandon their faith or change their faith, she said. Slam the brakes, woman. No faith in God permits the right to murder innocent babies, and denial of that is just denial of the religion itself. Harris is supposedly a practicing Baptist. Sure, like Pelosi and Biden are devout Catholics, or like gas is cheap right now, but a very true statement, obviously. Religions that base their practices on the Bible admit that abortion is a grave sin. Psalms 139 says, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb," to emphasize that the Lord knit children together, not a mere clump of cells. The Bible says, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb." The Bible also says, "Thou shalt not murder." Let me lay it out for you, Miss Harris. A baby is a baby in the womb, and aborting the baby is murder. Now, don't run that mouth so much anymore. Well, the Sheriff's Department spoke in this morning. Sergeant Brandel was the spokesperson for the report. We recorded it for broadcast at this time. Sergeant Brandel?
In the past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has answered 113 calls, processed 14 arrests, and currently have 196 incarcerated. Under our arrest reports, we have a Priscilla Wolf, 36-year-old white female of Tennessee, was charged with failure to appear on a felony, given a $7,000 secured bond. We have a Ryan Alexander Green, 33-year-old white male of Ellenboro, was charged with one count of breaking and entering and one count of resisting a public officer, given a $5,000 secured bond. We have a Cecil Dean Johnson, 61-year-old white male, was charged with failure to report change of address as a sex offender, given a $10,000 secured bond. We have a Michael Wayne Ken, 41-year-old white male of Far City, was charged with 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder and 1 count of assault on a law enforcement officer with a firearm. No bond listed on that at this time. We have a Philip Boland, 35-year-old white male of Mooresboro, charged with possession of Schedule 2, misdemeanor fleet and loot arrest with a motor vehicle, driving while license revoked, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, communicating threats, and assault on a female. He was given a $13,000 secure bond. We have a Montreal Murray, 32-year-old black male Shelby, charged with, or served with a court process. Looks like he's got a $500 bond on that. Have a Cecil Lee Henson Jr., 55-year-old white male of Rutherford, charged with 1 count of misdemeanor probation violation, 1 count of resisting a public officer, given a $7,500 secure bond. We have a Tina Robertson, 50-year-old white female of Ellenboro, charged with 6 counts of failure to appear on misdemeanor, given a $10,000 secure bond. We have a James Michael Gay, 35-year-old white male of Ellenboro, charged with 4 counts of failure to appear on misdemeanor, given a $1,000 secure bond. And we have a Tammy Logan, 37-year-old black female of Union Mills, charged with 1 count of failure to appear on misdemeanor, given a $3,000 secured bond. Under our incident reports, we have a Brittany Vance from Gilboy Church Road, Rutherford, reported a larceny of a motor vehicle. Looks like, let's see here. It's going to be a Burgundy Ford Escape, 2003 model on that. We have a Keith Hawthorne from Big Island Road, reported a felony larceny. Looks like several different construction equipment, including generators, batteries, impact driver, and drill driver, were taken in that incident. We have a breaking and entering and a resistant public officer that was reported from Lefford Road at Ellenboro. That's where Mr. Ryan Green was taken into custody in that incident. We have Barbara Green, Adelot Road, Rutherford, reported a breaking and entering. Looks like numerous various type items taken in that incident. We have a Charles Hall from Pebblestone Lane, Rutherford, reported a felony larceny. Looks like 2 cell phones valued at $1,400 were taken in that incident. And we have a obtained property false pretense from Howard Cole Road in Rutherford. Looks like suspect took $954 in U.S. currency through a Cash App on the phone. And that's all we have to report this morning.
Sinner on Tuesday at center court to reach the Wimbledon quarterfinals for the 11th time in his career. After losing the second set 6-2, the six-time Wimbledon champ was seen talking to himself on the side court before the start of the third. He said it was a self-pep talk.
As negative and down you feel on yourself, even though as fake as it looks to you, it gives you support if you're trying to find the right and positive affirmations and tell it to yourself and kind of reanimate yourself in a way. It doesn't always work, but yeah, I just felt like I had to change something.
An NHL team made history on Tuesday.
The San Jose Sharks have hired Mike Greer as their new general manager.
Hi, Sharks fans. It's Mike Greer. I'm your new GM.
Greer posted that message on social media before the team's official announcement. He's now the first black GM in NHL history. Greer succeeds Joe Will, who took over for Doug Wilson back in April. Greer played 14 seasons in the league, including 3 with the Sharks from 2006 to 2009. And apparently general managing is part of the family business. Greer's brother, Chris Greer, has been GM of the Miami Dolphins since 2016. Monica Ricks, CBS News.
The first round of the NHL draft, meanwhile, is a day away, and Canes president and general manager Don Waddell is talking about their selection process. He tells Spectrum News they have to wait a long time to make their first pick. That after dealing away their first-round selection.
It was going to be a late pick, so it would end up being 28th or 29th this year. Not that you don't want to value those picks, but it's not like we're giving up a top 10 or top 15 pick. So, you never know what's going to come your way.
Carolina has to wait until the 60th selection in the second round to make their first pick. They'll again pick in the third round when they go 71st. This is NCN Sports.
If you pay your city or town for electricity, you live in a public power community. When storms or other disasters damage your community's electric system, public power line workers respond first so they can make the scene safe for other first responders. It's difficult work, often in grueling and dangerous conditions. So be sure to give those folks in utility trucks room to work safely and keep your community powered. Learn more about public power at electricities.com.
Everybody's got to do their part. If you're not going to get the vaccine, you're just not using your head. And the vaccine's going to save lives.
And stop being so selfish. It's just a vaccine. We've all had them as children.
Vaccines are doing what they're supposed to do in curtailing the virus.
Please, please get vaccinated, not only for yourself, for your family, for your friends.
You have a spot.
Take your shot.
Everyone 6 months and older can get a COVID-19 vaccine. Visit myspot.nc.gov for more information.
The former president of Team USA Softball is now under investigation for alleged sex crimes with a child. KOVR TV's Elizabeth Kling reports.
Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says 61-year-old John Gouveia was arrested back in April on 8 felony counts of lewd and lascivious acts with a child under age 14. He worked for the National Governing Council for Girls Softball from 1991 to 2019. Investigators say the alleged victim was not associated with the organization.
The Angels' two-way star Shohei Ohtani taking a scoreless streak of 21 2/3 innings to the mound when he starts at Miami tonight. Ohtani's 7-4 with a 2.63 ERA and has won 4 consecutive starts. He struck out 101 batters in 74 innings this year. Josh and Zach, NCN Sports.
We are in the middle of an active weather period. That means showers and thunderstorms are going to play a prominent role in our forecast, likely through Saturday. Unfortunately, it does come along with a threat for severe weather. We're in a level 2 threat for severe storms later today, damaging winds, perhaps some hail, the high in the low to mid-90s. Early evening showers and storms, the low in the low 70s, and more scattered showers and thunderstorms on tap tomorrow. Some could be severe with the high in the low 90s. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
We are up to 70 at 8:30 this Wednesday morning, getting up to 94 for our expected high with the heat index around 101. So it's going to be one of those days. So be sure to check yourself out. Drink plenty of fluid. Make sure the kids are not in the cars too long and the pets are taken care of as well. Leave the pets plenty of fresh water, particularly if they stay outdoors. It's going to be a hot in the neighborhood, and we can expect some thunderstorm possibilities this afternoon. This is WCAB Rutherfordton, 100.9 FM, 590 AM, serving the foothills of the Carolinas. It's time now for the Word of Faith Fellowship radio program. And with the program this morning is Brock Webster and Elizabeth Morris.
Good morning, Rutherford County. It's really exciting to be on here. My name's Brock Webster, and I'm here with my lifelong friend Elizabeth. Our parents knew each other since we were little, and they knew each other before we were born, and we have grown up just being together, serving Jesus. And really my heart is to come on here and really, first of all, I just want to be a humble minister that God can use. And there is a misconception out in the world that just about serving God in general. There's so many things people just do not know what life is like serving Jesus. They don't know what it truly means to be born again, and that is promised in the Bible. That ever since the beginning of time, the devil has come to deceive, to pervert what God has. And really, I want to say I'm grateful that I am in the Word of Faith Fellowship, because not only has it helped me to come closer to Jesus, I have the best life ever. And that's what anyone would want, is the best life. And I can say that from a true, honest heart. I mean, I just really enjoy every moment of my life in Jesus, and how can I not just keep that to myself? I want to share that with other people, and I know Elizabeth's the same way. We want other people to experience a great life and just serving Jesus, and that's how you experience a great life, is serving Jesus. And that's really my aim, to come on here and just share what life really should be like, and share it very humbly from where God has spoken to us and from just my experience in life. And really, I want to read a scripture in Ephesians 1, verse 4, because that really is the reason we were born, was to serve Jesus. And if you go through life any other way and you're striving after anything else but to serve Jesus, you're just missing the whole point in life. And I've seen, because I've been there before, but just young people, and not only young people, but the whole world in general, I've just seen how they strive after things, possessions. Maybe it's trying to fit in, getting the next best thing, a job, a career, trying to be happy, entertainment, pleasure, trying to look good in front of people. And it doesn't bring happiness. You may be happy when you get this thing you want, but it's not a true happiness and a joy that comes from the fruit of the Holy Spirit when you're truly born again. And I've been in both places. I've been in the place where I just go after things and things that I think I want, and yes, maybe it brought some pleasure or happiness, but it didn't bring the joy of knowing Jesus. And I've also been where I do know Jesus, and he has been inside of my heart, and it's just so much better living that way. And really, since the beginning of time, the devil has tried to pervert that relationship, because he doesn't want us to make it to heaven. And God is very clear about that. And it's also very clear that Jesus came to give us life, and the devil comes to destroy. And I just want to share about that a little bit. So in Ephesians 1, verse 4, it says, even as in his love he chose us, actually picked us out for himself as his own in Christ, before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy, consecrated, and set apart for him, and blameless in his sight, even above reproach before him in love. And that's the beginning right there. That's your first step. It says Jesus chose us and picked us out for himself in Christ before the world was even created. So if you're wondering what the purpose of your life is, that's it right there. Jesus picked you out for himself, and you just got to submit your heart to Jesus, which I'll share more about that as I go along. But it starts with just submitting your heart to Jesus and being born again. And you don't have to spend your whole life trying to find the purpose or what you want to do. All you got to do is ask Jesus, and he'll show you. And I've seen that in my own life. I'm not just saying this because it's something I've heard. I've actually experienced this, and I know from myself. And really, I want to read too in 1 John 2, verse 15. It says here that do not love or cherish the world, or the things that are in the world. If anyone loves the world, love for the Father is not in him. And that is a real strange scripture for, I'm sure, a lot of people out in the world. But it's not strange because it's in the Bible. And if you call yourself a Christian, it says plainly, do not love or cherish the world. And most everyone out there, because I know that was me, is striving after the world and the things the world has to offer. And that's just not the way God called us to be. It says, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, craving for sensual gratification, and the lust of the eyes, greedy longings of the mind, and the pride of life, assurance in one's own resources, or in the stability of earthly things, these do not come from the Father, but are from the world itself. And the world passes away and disappears, and with it the forbidden cravings, the passionate desires, the lust of it. But he who does the will of God and carries out his purpose in his life abides, remains forever. And that is our whole purpose, is to abide and make it to heaven. And all this stuff that the world brings, doesn't matter what it is, all it is just a distraction to get you from making it to heaven. Because it's very plain, if you go after those things in the world and the sensual gratification, the lust of the eyes, you're not going to make it to heaven. And we, as a church and as a family, me and Elizabeth, we want to make it to heaven. And that should be our primary goal. And then everything else falls under that. And as I already mentioned about just finding the purpose for your life, all you have to do is surrender to Jesus and do his will. And another scripture on that is in Psalms 139. Let's read that real quick. Psalms 139, verse 12. Even the darkness hides nothing from you, but the night shines as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to you, meaning God knows everything. It doesn't matter what we're going through. He's there and he knows it. He knew it before we were even born. For you did form my inward parts. You did knit me together in my mother's womb. I will confess and praise you, for you are fearful and wonderful, and for the awful wonder of my birth. Wonderful are your works, and that my inner self knows right well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being formed in secret, and intricately and curiously wrought, as if embroidered with various colors, in the depths of the earth, a region of darkness and mystery. Your eyes saw my unformed substance, and in your book all the days of my life were written, before ever they took shape, when as yet there were none of them. Isn't that amazing to think that all the days of our life were written in a book that God wrote for us, and we don't have to worry about what we're doing from day to day. We should just be asking Jesus, and when we have a relationship with him, we shouldn't worry about anything. We should just walk in that path that Jesus has for us. It's a happy path, it says in Ephesians. So I'm just really blessed to have this kind of life, and I want everyone else to be able to enjoy that as well. And I always think where just if someone were to come up to you and say, if I told you that your whole life could be planned out, it would go perfect. Yes, there may be tests and trials, but everything would just work out and you would make it to heaven. Pretty much everyone would say, well, I want that. And the way you get that is through Jesus. We can have that kind of a life. It's very simple. And Deuteronomy 5:29 really says that well. It says, oh, that they had such a mind and heart in them, always reverently to fear me, and keep all my commandments, that it may go well with them and with their children forever. And God has that longing for us, and we don't even realize that. God wants us to just fear him and walk with him, and it will go well with us. And this is not just something on a page in the Bible, yes, and you may hear it all the time. It's really something that you can apply to your life and live every day. And that's the reason we have been persecuted here at the Word of Faith, is because we're not of this world. And it's plain in the Bible that we're not supposed to be of this world. And we're just passing through. Our citizenship is in heaven, and we're going to get persecuted for that. It's just promised. And John 15, verse 18 and 19 talks a little bit about that. It says, if the world hates you, know that it hated me before it hated you. If you belong to the world would treat you with affection and would love you as its own. But because you are not of the world, no longer one with it, but I have selected you out of the world. The world hates and detests you. There it is right there. And we shouldn't be trying to fit in. That is not what the scriptures say. We should be trying to serve Jesus, be his ministers, and be a light in a city on the top of the hill that can lead other people to Jesus. And I will have one more scripture in Ephesians 2. I didn't mention it, but I want to read it because it's really important here. Ephesians 2, it says in verse 10, it says, we should walk in them, living the good life which he prearranged and made ready for us to live. And that's the end of verse 10. And it is a good life. And I cannot stress it enough. I do not regret anything about serving Jesus because I'm on the right path. I'm in his will. I'm experiencing his joy. And most importantly, I'm on my way to heaven if I keep surrendering my heart to Jesus and serving him.
Yes, and just like Brock said, God has a plan for each one of our lives. It doesn't matter what the devil may tell you. It doesn't matter what family you were brought into. God has a special plan for you, and he has a special plan for me. And every day it's a fight to know what God's will is for our life, because the devil, he also has a plan. And the devil's plan, he may bring it. It may seem so good to you. It may be what you want. But it's not God's will. And the devil's plan, all it is it brings torment, it brings sadness, it brings depression. But what God has for you is way better. Just like Brock said, it's way beyond anything you could ever want, anything you could ever dream. And don't ever listen to that lie that the devil brings, that you're not called to do anything, you don't have a place, it's never going to work out for you. Because as long as you surrender your heart to Jesus and you let Jesus come into your life, everything works out for the good. And I just want to read the beginning part of that verse that Brock just read to us in Ephesians 2. It says, for we are God's own handiwork, his workmanship, recreated in Christ Jesus, born anew, that we may do those good works which God predestined, planned beforehand for us. Before you were ever born, it says God planned beforehand. He had a special plan for you. And before you were born, all the days of your life were written. God knows everything you're supposed to be doing. And if we submit our hearts to Jesus and let him flow through us, he will reveal his will to us every day. And just what Brock said, it says, living the good life which he prearranged and made ready for us to live. And there is nothing better than living the good life. I've seen it in my life. Brock's seen it in his life. And every day we feel so fulfilled knowing that we're doing what God has called us to do. And just in my own life, I wanted to share a little bit about, living the good life and how I've seen, as I've surrendered my life to Jesus, just how everything has worked out, and Jesus has blessed me so beyond. I remember when I graduated from high school, I was 15 years old, Brock was 15, we were very young, and when we graduated, we were still in college, and we didn't, we were too young to work, but every day that required me to hear the voice of God on what Jesus had for me to be doing for that day. And every day, as I would hear Jesus' voice, as he would speak to me, he would reveal what I was supposed to do that day. And I wasn't worried, I wasn't anxious about what my future was going to be like or what I was going to be doing, because I knew that Jesus had a plan for my life. And I'm so grateful I was able to learn that when I was young, and just to see that worked in my heart. And, I wanted to spend my time during my age then, helping other people. And I would help, people in the community that couldn't do things around their houses. And I could just see how people felt the love of Jesus flowing through me. Or I would watch children and, just cry out to God every day to help me to make my life an example to others, to make my life an example to others, to see that what it's like living the good life. And I know about a year ago, God opened the door for me to start working at my dad's law office. And it wasn't anything that I strove after. I did not, want it. I just every day cried out, God, you have the perfect will for me. And he opened the door for me to work there. He opened the door for Brock to work there. And I'm so happy every single day. I help people in the car accident department. And I see people that come in and their lives are totally destroyed. I mean, they're depressed, they're hurt, literally, physically. Some of them can't do anything. And they see in just how 1 second, their lives were totally destroyed. But that's an opportunity for me to show them Jesus and to tell them that there's hope, that God has a plan for their life. And I know there was one example I had even yesterday of a guy, he, was on his last leg. He had cancer, and God just told us to sing to him and just to encourage him. And then I sent him a Bible, and that's what it's all about, telling other people that there's hope. And that's what it is, living the good life. Your life can be that example to other people. And I know as I continue to walk with Jesus and I continue to cry out to him, he will continue working his will in my life. And in Hebrews 12, verse 13, I love this verse because it says, "And cut through and make firm and plain and smooth straight paths for your feet. Yes, make them safe and upright and happy paths." They're happy paths. When you walk with Jesus, it's a happy life. It says that go in the right direction. And when you serve Jesus, everything goes in the right direction. And you feel so much joy. You feel peace. You don't feel worried. You don't feel anxious. And, there's so many people in our world that they're always striving for something to fill that place in their heart, that void. They look forward to the weekend when they get off work. They look forward to getting out of school and having all summer long. There's things that, people, that's what they look forward to, retirement. But when you have Jesus, you're so fulfilled. You're so excited doing what you're doing that day. You don't look forward to something more than something else because you know that you're on the right path that Jesus has for you, which is a happy path. And in John 17, verse 13, it says, Jesus prayed this prayer for us, and he said, "And now I am coming to you. I say these things while I am still in the world, so that my joy may be made full and complete and perfect in them, that they may experience my delight fulfilled in them, that my enjoyment may be perfected in their own souls, and that they may have my gladness filling them, filling their hearts." And that's what we have. When we have Jesus living on the inside of us, we have his joy, we have his gladness. We're so excited all the time. And if you wonder, why do you feel sad? Why do you feel depressed? Why are you not happy? The first thing you need to do is cry out, are you doing what God has you to be doing? Because if Jesus is living on the inside of you, I can tell you, I've seen it in my life, Brock's seen it in his life. You are so happy. You're never sad. You're never depressed. You're never worried because Jesus is the one who is living inside of you.
And really, how that starts is by being born again. That's how our life starts with Jesus. And in John 3, verse 3, I'll just start in verse 1. "Now there was a certain man among the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler, a leader in authority among the Jews, who came to Jesus at night and said to him, 'Rabbi, we know and are certain that you have come from God as a teacher, for no one can do these signs, these wonder works, these miracles, and produce the proofs that you do unless God is with him.' Jesus answered him, 'I assure you, most solemnly I tell you, that unless a person is born again, anew from above, he cannot ever see, know, be acquainted with, and experience the kingdom of God.'" And the very first step to having this life of just having the joy and the assurance of knowing Jesus, like Elizabeth and I have been sharing about, you've got to surrender your heart to Jesus and be born again. And that is taking yourself out of your own keeping, surrendering your life to Jesus. It's Jesus, not my will, but just what you have for me. And that's the best life you could ever have. And I'm going to read in verse 8. It says, "The wind blows and breathes where it wills, and though you hear its sound, yet you neither know where it comes from nor where it's going. So it is with everyone who is born of the Spirit." And that's the way you know you're born again or not, is are you experiencing God's Spirit inside of you? And I'm going to read about the fruits of the Spirit later, but I have a few examples of just where it's talking about here. The wind blows, and you don't know where it's coming from or where it's going, but you know it's there. And I just have so many examples in my life of just where I feel God's Spirit speaking to me, telling me to do things. And just for example, I have a cat. And me and my dad were going to play a game upstairs at our house. So our cat, 100 out of 100, is going to mess up your game. Like, she'll crawl in it, she'll mess up all the cards, whatever you're playing, she's going to ruin it. And so she was upstairs, and we were getting ready to start this game, and I was going to take her down because 100 out of 100, she's going to ruin it. So I just felt something inside of me. It was the Spirit of God, and he said, don't take the cat down. It wasn't a loud voice, but I just felt it in my spirit. Don't take the cat down. And I could have thought, well, she's going to ruin our game, because that's what we always do, is take the cat down whenever we start a game. And I just felt in my spirit not to. And so we started the game, and she sat there and watched us the entire time and did not move, did not get in our way. And that was an example right there of being led by the Spirit of God. And that's how you should live your life. That's how I want to live my life all the time, is being sensitive to the Spirit of God. And then your life is so much better. You can avoid all the problems. You can avoid all the mistakes just by surrendering to Jesus. And it's not something where you really try and do it, but it's when you surrender and you're born again. That's just the way it is, with the Spirit of God showing you. And another example is, so we're building a new sanctuary at our church, and I was out there by it, and I noticed there was a lot of trash just from different groups of people that have been working there, like the companies. And I thought, I really wish we could clean up some of this trash. I thought that to myself, and I think I said it to a couple of my friends. And I went home and prayed about it and didn't say anything to anyone. And the next day, I found out that some friends had gotten together, and we were going to go pick up trash at the church. I didn't say a word about it. And that's just how the Spirit of God is, leading you and guiding you, and you do not have to worry about anything. And I'm going to read in John 5:30. It kind of goes along with what I was just sharing. It says, I am able to do nothing for myself, independently of my own accord, but only as I am taught by God and I get His orders. Even as I hear, I judge, I decide as I am bidden to decide, and the voice comes to me, so I give a decision. And my judgment is right, just, and righteous, because I do not seek or consult my own will. I have no desire to do what is pleasing to myself, my own aim, my own purpose, but only the will and the pleasure of the Father who sent me. And I don't even have to read that verse, because it's just in my heart, and I've just read it so much because that's how I want to live my life, is just doing God's will. And that's how our whole life should be. It's not our own aim, not our own purpose. And I'm going to read 1 Corinthians 2, verse 14, because this could be a real strange message for a lot of people, because that's just not how people live their lives normally. It's more about, when you don't have Jesus, it's more about yourself and what you want to do, and striving after things, and always worrying and striving after whatever you want. And because of that, I'm going to read 1 Corinthians 2, verse 14. It says, the natural, non-spiritual man does not accept or welcome or admit into his heart the gifts and teachings and revelations of the Spirit of God, for they are folly, meaningless nonsense to him, and he is incapable of knowing them. And our message today could be folly and meaningless and nonsense if you do not have a relationship to Jesus, of progressively recognizing, understanding, and becoming better acquainted with them, because they are spiritually discerned and estimated and appreciated. And these things do have to be spiritually discerned and estimated and appreciated. And I know Elizabeth and I greatly appreciate these things we've learned because we've experienced them. And it says the spiritual man tries all things. He examines, investigates, inquires into, questions, and discerns all things, yet is himself to be put on trial and judged by no one. He can read the meaning of everything, but no one can properly discern or appraise or get an insight into him. And I know my heart's cry is to be that spiritual man that tries all things and just inquires of Jesus. And I know there's many times in my life I'm definitely not perfect, and there's mistakes I make, but that is when I don't inquire of Jesus, and I want those mistakes to not be there. I want to be one of those people that is so in Jesus all the time, in His Spirit. And I've really been learning that, and I'm excited to know that I'm going to grow closer to Jesus if I stay in that place. And I do have a lot about the true meaning of believe, and the true meaning of really believing in Jesus, because that's the next step, is once you're born again and believing, and really the true meaning of that. But turn over to Elizabeth if you want to.
Yes, and in 2 Peter 2, verse 10, it says, "Because of this, brethren, be all the more solicitous and eager to make sure, to ratify, to strengthen, and to make steadfast your calling and election. For if you do this, you will never stumble or fall. Thus there will be richly and abundantly provided for you entry into the eternal kingdom of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ." And that's the most important thing in all of our lives. I know in Brock in my life, every day we're crying out to Jesus. We want to make it to heaven. We don't want to be one of those who stumble, who fall aside from Jesus. But the only way that we can make it to heaven is every day fulfilling our call, doing what Jesus has us to do. And every day it's a choice. I remember one of my teachers, Sandra Norris, when we were in school, she would come in every day and she would tell us, students, she would say, it's a choice. Today you can choose whether you're going to have a good day. You can choose whether you're going to be in the will of God, whether you're going to fight to know Jesus, or you can choose to have a bad day. And it's up to us to fight every day to make sure that we're strengthening our call, that we're doing what God's called us to do, and that we're fulfilling every day what is written in that book of life that God has arranged for us before the foundation of the earth. And at this time, we would like to sing you a song, and this song is so precious to us. And it talks about, submitting and crying out to do God's will. And it says one line that I love so much. It says, "Where there is your will, there is so much salvation." And when God's will is in your life, you have so much salvation, you have peace, you have grace, and you have deliverance. And we hope you enjoy this song. And as we sing it, just open your heart to Jesus and make this your cry, that this is what we want Jesus to work in all of our lives.
We are submitted to you, O God, taking pleasure in conforming ourselves after your own image, seeking your will, seeking your ways, exalting what you have ordained. We are your sons and daughters. Where there is your will, there is so much salvation. Where your ways are being allowed, there is grace and deliverance. We are submitted to you, O God, taking pleasure in conforming ourselves after your own image, seeking your will, seeking your ways, exalting what you have ordained. We are your sons and daughters. Where there is your will, there is so much salvation. Where your ways are being allowed, there is grace and deliverance. We are submitted to you, O God, taking pleasure in conforming ourselves after your own image, seeking your will, seeking your ways, exalting what you have ordained. We are your sons and daughters. We are your sons and daughters. We are your sons and daughters.
Thank you so much for listening. It's been great to be on here. I know even for myself, the devil is always there to try to get you to not do God's will, but just don't listen to the devil. Just surrender your heart to Jesus, and we'll be back with another program continuing what we're sharing now. We're on here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8:30 to 9, and you can go to our website at wordoffaithfellowship.org to listen to more programs. Thank you very much.